Yeah, my name is Richard Lavelle Barber, SFC, retired military, civilian police officer, military police officer. I rose from the rank of private, ended up in a job as a major for 2 years, Deputy Division Provost Marshal, 1st Infantry Division, Fort Riley, Kansas. I spent 19 months in Vietnam. I was in and out of 5 major campaigns. A lot of times it was scary, other times it wasn't. 9 of them got to go visit Buddha, as far as I actually knew about that I did. But it was all good food, well cooked. And over there you can get a lobster dinner on a great big steak plate, and you still had lobster laying on both ends, and a big bowl of butter for $1. We didn't particularly like to get into the rubber tree plantations, but sometimes we had to escort a convoy through those areas. We couldn't fire back at Charlie if he hit us in a rubber tree plantation, because we'd do damage to the trees. So if we received fire going through a rubber tree plant, we had to skedaddle ASAP and get out of the area as fast as we could. We slept in the POW camp when there wasn't no prisoners there, but when they brought prisoners in, we had to move out into the earthen bunkers. I'm quite sure some of them smoked marijuana over there, but I don't believe or can I remember of any of them ever using drugs, hard drugs, heroin and stuff like that. But there was a lot of drugs over there, and it was being supplied by the North Vietnamese, because each drug addict was another casualty as far as the North Vietnamese were concerned. The time up in the DMZ, we got hit one morning about 2 o'clock in the morning, just after they closed the combined station down there in the town. And, our last patrol was coming in, 2 GIs in it, 2 military policemen. A hand grenade, I believe, was thrown at him, and the passenger was killed instantly, but he fell out of the Jeep. The driver didn't know it, and there was small arms fire, other explosions going on around him. He stops his Jeep in the middle of the road, gets out, walks around, picks up the body, walks back over to the Jeep, gets back in the Jeep without getting a single hit on himself with all this shooting and explosion going on around him, and drove on into the fire base. Of course, they let him in. We'd already set up a perimeter. There was returning fire out there. But he was awarded the Bronze Star for valor. Good kid. When I asked him about it prior to that, or after that rather, he told me he didn't even think. He just knew his buddy was out there laying in the road and he had to go get him. He didn't think about all the shooting and explosion going on around. Shot one coming through the fence one night up at Quezon. I guess my first round hit him and killed him because he didn't move. But they come and took me off the firing line, and I had to go sit in the fire control center until they sent somebody out to check the body next morning. And it was a zapper. He had a package of explosives with him, so they let me go, didn't say nothing. I went on back to my unit, got some sleep. And I know I come home from leave out of Vietnam before I went back for the second tour. And I was called names. Civilians wouldn't serve me, or, they'd make disgusting looks at me. So I mainly ignored the remarks But see, people they ain't got the guts to go up to a politician, or they were hippies at that time. The easiest thing for the civilian populace then was to blame the soldiers for the war. Soldiers didn't lose that war. The hippies and the politicians, afraid they wouldn't get a vote, ruined that war. We were doing fine over there. A little more kick in, and we could have saved South Vietnam. But everybody wanted us out. Well, they say everybody. I think it was just a minority, but they were the loudest herd. So they squelled down the war. Well, my second tour consisted of 6 months. During that time I got killed. That was kind of funny. Some packages and letters that my parents had sent to me were sent back to them marked addressee deceased. And of course that took well, Dad being an elected sheriff, he went to his political friends, and they conducted an investigation. Come to find out, we had busted some people out of the APO, Army Post Office, for narcotics trafficking, and they were mad about it. So if they recognized the names of military policemen, CID, MPI people that were involved, they would stamp them and kick them back to the parents, you know, whoever sent them back. They'd put the addressee deceased to send them back. And that didn't bother me. You know, they flew me down to Cameron Bay in a helicopter. Some officer down there, he gave me his telephone. I got to sit behind his desk, drank soda water, talked to my parents, tell them I was alive and doing well. And that was one incident. I spent a lot of my off-duty time in the craft shop. I was teaching at that time, teaching leather over there during my off-duty hours. I gave the other GI something to do when they were off-duty. I enjoyed that quite a bit. Plus I got extra money from the special services people that I was working for. I come out of Vietnam, there were still a lot of harsh feelings, but they didn't push it toward the people it should have been pushed toward. They were calling the soldiers losers and things like that. Of course, it takes a lot of guts. You know, they ain't got the guts to go up to a conference space and call him a traitor. They can holler at his GI. It's been in there to risk his life. But, they'd holler at him, you know, call him a foul name or a baby killer or whatever. I felt that we should have been over there, and as far as that goes, I was the first time I'd been in 21 years in the Army that I felt that I was doing what I got paid for. That was defending my country and people who couldn't defend themselves. And I would have gladly gone back over there again.